And we're back. Thanks for joining us on the Coruscant Knights podcast. We're happy to have you here. My name is Cooper, and alongside me, as always, is Mark
Hello there.
and Jack.
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
Great
Jack,
way
I
to
liked your
start.
helmet.
Yeah, no, definitely just not not a helmet, a TV show, what TV show, T-shirt
You're wearing a TV
on
show.
TV
fire.
show.
Talking about TV shows before the podcast is not a good idea.
Yeah, no. Should wait till after.
Uh,
All right. How you guys doing today? You guys doing all right?
Yeah, doing okay, thanks.
yeah,
That's
feeling
good.
great.
How are you?
That's awesome. I'm doing really well. I'm excited to talk about
Excellent.
this episode where this actually we're at the halfway point now
Hmm.
of the rewatch
Ooh,
series
I thought
of
we'd be past it by now,
I know that's
actually.
what you kind of think, but no.
That's
So
pretty long.
we've been through five. We've got five to go.
I think
Hmm.
we're all just used to episodes 1 to 6 that we're just like,
Oh God,
we
Mark
Mark.
think
already.
that's not what I meant. I meant like most people have that in their head and then they exclude like Rogue One and Solo and all that.
Okay, okay.
Sure, okay, sure. That's what you.
That is what I meant. Yeah.
All right. Oh man, I cannot wait for these sequels. I'm so
Uh,
excited. Anyway,
Uh,
thanks for joining us. As I said before, if you aren't following us on social media, go follow us on Instagram. We post updates on there. You can find the link to our Patreon there as well. Thanks to Ben and Nikita for their continual support. We do appreciate it a lot. Also on Instagram, we posted last week following the Rogue One episode a little bit of our experience at a Rogue One not rewatch
re-release.
event. Yeah, re-release
mm,
event that had an Andor clip attached to it. So we went along and had a look at that about a couple months ago, but we put it on a couple of photos on Instagram. So go feel free to check that out. And also on YouTube as well. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, go check out YouTube because we do upload polls, community polls there, and we like to interact with the community. So that's that. Okay. Star Wars A New Hope, Episode 4, the
The OG.
original Star Wars movie.
episode 1.
Yeah. Or just
Well,
Star Wars.
well, yes, technically it is just Star Wars.
Mm.
Um, where do we want to start today, guys? What do we want to do?
Let me just get into the positives, I reckon.
Positives? All right.
Yeah, let's go
Do,
positives.
do you want to go first, Jack?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
So let's begin us off. Overall, I think the film in itself is very good. I just think, in my opinion, it's not one of the better ones when you're comparing it to the others. So keep that in mind when I'm going through the positives. Um, I do think that it started this whole craze because of how unique the different environments and the different types of things that you saw visually on screen, especially for that time period. I really
Mm.
enjoyed seeing. Okay, so now, currently speaking, I don't enjoy seeing Tatooine that much, but in terms of how they
It's
portrayed it,
been done to death.
yeah, they just overused Tatooine in my opinion now. But Tatooine in this movie is really good. I
Mm.
do see their vision with it and see how it makes them feel. Even where Umbrew and Luke and all them live, it's just very on its own in like a
Yeah, isolated.
yeah, isolated. Kind of gives you an added layer to who Luke is and how he's so minor in the grand scheme of things, but then has such an impact on the galaxy. I just kind of like that storytelling, and if you read into landmarks, environments, all that kind of stuff. Um, I love the music. The music's so
Yeah.
good.
Mm.
He starts this franchise off from when it first got released so well. I love with these original trilogy movies. I just love how they feel so like nostalgic, primarily solely on the how they film it.
Yes.
Like there's a bit of grain, it's not perfect. Like there's imperfections, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
Like
there's
the
even
freeze frames with the lightsabers.
yeah, and even like when Darth and Obi-Wan are fighting, like you can see some of the like light of from the lightsabers just like
Yeah.
going through it, not like connecting with it, and
Mm.
stuff like that makes it so unique in itself. I just really enjoy that kind of aspect of it. If you look at it like that, characters. Oh, characters in the original trilogy and in this movie really are probably my favorite protagonists for like the three trilogies because
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
That is big
100%.
me out.
praise from you.
Hear me out. I love Anakin and Obi-Wan, and even Padme if you
And
count her as.
technically, those two are still here. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Mark knows.
mm,
But this is the original trilogy of. Okay, so if you go off the three, it's not really Anakin Darth. He's not really. It's Han, Luke, and Leia.
yeah,
And not just on in this movie alone, but with there's so much character lore, um, development through books, games. This period of time has them three in it so much, and you just get so much from them, and the chemistry with them. Like you got the best friendship with Han and Luke. You got the older brother kind of
mm,
he's
yeah,
like looking out for him. He's been through a lot, Han, and Luke's like up and coming kind of thing. And then you got Leia, who's like independent, strong female character, which we don't really. This is how, like, in my opinion, how you portray that kind of having her, be her own character, not rely on others trying to do stuff for
definitely.
her. You know,
Yeah,
and then you got the love interest with Han and Leia, and it's just I don't know, it's just they play off each other so well in this movie and in the next two that I think if I like this is how I see it in my head. If I got to have some extra movies or extra TV shows live action with the characters at this like this how they are of age now, like
mm,
being young and stuff, I would want more of that than I want more of the prequels, if you know what I mean. I want more with Han
yeah.
and Leia in their prime rather than Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Because, and I would say that is influenced by the fact that the Clone Wars does that for the prequels.
Yeah.
So if we
Oh
could
yeah.
have more, development or whatever you want to call it with the adventures of these guys at
There's,
that time, that would be really cool.
yeah, like I understand how we're getting all these games and stuff now with like even the new Jedi Out not Jedi Star Wars Outlaws game. Like it's set
Yeah,
between 5 and 6, but it's not following, the three protagonists from like this trilogy. And it's just I just want to see more of them three together, but so a bit of a sidetrack, but that's why I really like A New Hope though a lot is because of the characters. They really push this movie to being better than what I think it is in its own.
yeah,
So I'll that's kind of I don't okay, I'll talk about the plot quickly. It's probably not a positive for me, but I think that's because I know the other movies. But if I'm looking at it on its own, it probably has the most start, middle, end in a
yeah,
Star Wars movie compared to the others, where it's not as convoluted in terms of being confusing and what's this side plot happening here? It's all very
mm,
focused on the one thing, which I think is a good thing. Like it doesn't, for example, some of the movies like Last Jedi has this weird Canto bite thing, and it's a bit unnecessary when this movie focuses solely on we're the rebels versus the Empire. We're trying to get rid of the Death Star. Let's make this happen, kind of thing.
yeah,
The Empire's being too much. It's taken over the galaxy. We need to stop this. Simple but effective. That's all I want to say about that.
I agree.
Thank you.
I'll go next because mine are pretty much the exact same. The characters, as Jack said, are the main positive of this film. And to be honest, as you all know from our favorite movie podcast episode, this was my choice. And it's definitely up there as one of my favorites. And I think just like Jack said, the fact that it is the original, the nostalgia behind it. The characters are great. I think the story is great. Jack said, it's all right. That's what Jack said. It's linear, it's good, but it's all right. I think the story itself is really good.
Mm.
And the special effects, like you said as well, like it's made in, I think it was 1977, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not the best special effects, but I think that really, makes it good. And
Mm.
like the I'm thinking like the X-Wings flying off Yavin 4 and then
Mm.
the trench run, like I think those are really great scenes as well to
Yeah.
watch and enjoyable. Yeah.
Very good. Is that all your positives?
Yeah, I'll add on to yours as
Mm.
well, probably.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, in a break from tradition for me, I've kind of gone very specific with my positives and negatives.
Right.
They're not like acting, cinematography, like I normally
You
do. They're
having a
very,
dig at us. Wow.
well, I'm just, I don't know. I just made these notes because
Yeah,
it's hard to pinpoint certain things because you do compare it to the stuff that's come out now where the acting's
hard
a lot
to
better. It
yeah.
visually it looks fantastic. So
Mm,
I kind of didn't want to compare it in that sense because
Mm.
that'd be holding it back from what it really
Look
is.
at it on its own right.
Yeah.
mm.
So I've got a little okay, I've got a long list. So we'll go through it. Okay, the first thing I noticed, and this gave me goosebumps. I don't know why, but the opening crawl.
Yeah.
That I do not know why that one in particular gave me those chills, but just the feeling of like the original music and seeing the crawl go past and then realizing, oh, they made a whole movie about the opening crawl.
Do you
What?
do you reckon it's because it's the first one, or
I think so. It's got that
and
nostalgia.
and as you just said, the crawl really is the plot. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, the plot of
lots of
Rogue One.
times it's just lots of times the crawl is just very general,
Yep.
but this
Mm,
time it seems to be very specific on what
very true.
the whole movie is.
Yep. No, so I don't know what it was about this one. I think it was probably the nostalgia, but I absolutely loved the intro. Like we were saying before, the music was really good. There's a lot of iconic different tracks that just like I said before, give me goosebumps just because of how iconic and recognizable they are. And I don't know, just they do something to you that makes you feel good and makes you feel lost in this world. Uh,
I thought of something that Cooper might mention, but it's something
yeah.
I forgot to mention during my bit.
Do you want to mention it?
Typical me because I'm forgetful. I'll quickly mention it. It won't take long, and I'm sure you want to add to it. One of my favorite scenes is Luke when he's on the farm and he's just looking out because all he wants to do is leave,
Mm,
and plays the Force theme, one of the greatest soundtracks in my opinion in Star Wars.
mm.
And yeah, I think it really demonstrates Luke's character. He's stuck on the farm. He looks out into space, and that's all he really wants.
And then we somehow see that happen a lot in some other films, which
Yeah, very original in those other films, isn't
Hmm.
it?
are very original from the other films.
And it's also
Oh,
quite sad if you think about it, because Luke is forced. He wants to do it he wants adventure,
Mm.
but due to tragedy in his family, he's forced to do it, and then forced to fight in these huge battles where I think he really wants to do is just fly around and enjoy
Travel the galaxy.
adventure. Yeah,
hmm.
exactly.
Well, I didn't have that on my list, but I do agree with you. And
Mm.
also, one more thing. This is very much a sidetrack. Jack, I just noticed in your background, Leia's on there twice.
She is too.
She's
Yeah,
locked. Yeah, I think because she's locked up in that in the right. I don't know which side it is for you guys, but with the Darth Vader side, and
Yeah, on
then
the
on the
when
left
left.
for us.
I but then you have some old rebel dudes.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that Leia's on there twice and not like, oh no, you're covering Tarkin. That's right,
Yeah, you
Don.
know what I find hilarious though? How Obi-Wan is on this side, on the evil side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look, I just like the art style of it.
Yeah, no,
I
it's good.
think there's meaning to it, but yeah. Hmm.
All right. Sorry, that was very much a sidetrack. Um, I love the cantina scene.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yes,
why, but it was just awesome to see all those
because
different
you get
aliens
to
interacting
yeah, you get to
and hear
see
the
all these different
music.
creatures
Yeah, I think that's what does it
and
because
the
from
music.
this point forward, it's been droids and humans. And then when you kind of step into this cantina, it's a whole new world of different species, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
And
Very
you
true.
get to see what an absolute beast Ben Kenobi is,
Yes. Um.
as opposed to a certain show that involves baseball bats.
Oh, Mark, get off it.
I had to.
All right. I really liked Tarkin in this movie. I thought he was very menacing and
Yeah,
almost more threatening than Vader. I'd
I think I'd
probably,
agree with that.
uh, it's not that
I
he's in it
said it
more
in
because
the Rogue
Vader's in
One
it more.
episode. Tarkin's one of my favorite villains,
He's
the
just got
Imperial
that
officers.
condescending kind of critical nature about him that's,
He's always like physically looking down at others because he's
yes.
so tall.
I
But even
think
in this one, he gives orders to Vader. It's like, what?
I,
Yeah,
I think
that makes you know that he's really the guy in charge, I
yeah.
suppose.
I was gonna say I think he's verbally scarier in how he does his
Mhm.
actions, but when Darth is more visually striking and more physically scary. So
Yes. Okay,
And
I
and it
agree with
really
that.
shows like the scene with like that council sort of thing in the Death Star when Darth Vader chokes one of the officers, and Tarkin isn't phased at all.
Mm,
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he's probably
Shows
just used
how,
to seeing Vader doing it.
mm.
yeah, we're used to seeing everyone get very scared of,
Mm,
fearful of what he can, of his power.
If
But
you
that's it.
Tarkin knows he's in charge. He doesn't need to be afraid.
if you look at it like that, it almost makes you think that Vader's basically a lapdog in this. He's just a
Yeah.
mercenary. He's
I
a
mean,
mercenary that does the stuff that the Empire wants him to do. He's not
Mm.
leading in charge, which he feels like he is more an Empire.
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Mm.
That's an interesting comparison when we get to Empire, just to see the progression of Darth Vader and how he acts. And obviously, we get little insights to under the mask in Empire, so it kind of tells us that he's human as well and
Not a robot.
not a robot. Yeah.
Mm.
This is very, very specific. There's one Han Solo scene that I absolutely love. It's when he decides to be the hero and runs after all those stormtroopers in the Death Star, and
Ah,
then turns around and runs back the other way when there's a whole bunch of them. That one makes me laugh every single time.
mm,
That is
Yeah.
brilliant acting by Harrison Ford.
mm.
I thought that, okay, this is going to be maybe controversial. I thought that the Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan fight was a lot better than I remember it being.
Yeah.
I remember being very slow, and then I remember seeing the remix or the
Yeah. The one on
remastered
YouTube.
one on YouTube. And I thought, oh, this is so good.
Mm.
But this one was fine. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
don't
slow,
think,
but it's
yeah.
pretty good.
I don't think it's controversial. I think it's a fair point,
Yeah.
but I still don't think it. You can't say it's better than like,
No,
yeah,
It's
no,
just
but
better than remembered.
yeah,
yes,
which is fair
yeah.
enough. Mm, mm,
Trench Run
And
was
I
also
do
really
agree.
good.
I agree with that.
The Trench Run was really good.
yeah.
Um, and the whole like rebellion going out to meet the Empire was really good. I thought that was fun to watch. The ending on Yavin was fantastic. And I think if you're watching it as a standalone movie, which a lot of viewers will, or some Star Wars viewers will choose to do, where they've only watched the original and that's it. I
Mm.
think it works well in the trilogy, but also works well as its own movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Which makes sense considering it was meant to be just one film. So
Mhm.
Yep.
that's again where Jack's start, middle, and end point comes in, and
Yeah.
Mm,
delivers the closure to the viewer.
yes.
Yeah. Hundred
Except for
percent.
Chewie getting his medal.
Mm.
Just saying.
Apparently he
Just
did in a
saying.
big
That'll
one.
be mentioned later.
Yeah.
Apparently he did.
Well, I think that was a new version that they gave it to. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I don't know. And my last comment was I love that this movie introduced so many pop culture recognizable sort of phenomena. So we get
Mm.
lightsabers, blasters, Death Stars, X-Wings, TIE fighters, all that shebang.
The Force,
Um, yeah, the
Hmm.
Force. Just we get so many iconic things that
even the
we know and love
costumes,
today. Even the costumes, yeah, sure. With the Jedi robes and Darth Vader's like cape
and the
and helmet and
stormtroopers,
the stormtroopers. Yeah,
even
we
the
just
rebels.
even the rebels. We just get so much in we just get so much in this, and I think that we it all owes to this. And obviously, there's going to be more stuff moving forward. Like next week, we're going to get AT-ATs, and then we're going to
Mhm.
get Ewoks further down the line. So, but I think this does a really good job at establishing the universe, the things in the universe, and I'm glad that what was established has become so recognizable.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's my list of positives.
Yeah.
I think we continue the circle, Jack, with some negatives.
Ah, well. So it's funny how if you're listening or watching this, you probably would think after my positives that I would have not many negatives, but I'm sorry to the people who love this movie, Mark. I think there's actually quite, I'm probably more negative than positive with this movie. And the one main factor is because of nostalgia. It's positive in the way when you go back and rewatch it, it just feels iconic and traditional. But I think a lot of the Star Wars community, um, including myself, as sometimes gets blinded by that nostalgia. Because when you look past it, it's very, I don't know, it's very kind of dry.
Yeah.
And when I go to rewatch it, it's one of the hardest movies in the whole 1 to 9 to rewatch because of how kind of little it does to keep the audience kind of um
Actually, that's a really good point, and I'll let you finish before I say something. Sorry.
yeah.
That was
No, sorry.
yeah.
No, go for it, go for it.
Okay, so one thing I did notice
Mm.
and this is probably just to do with time, there's a lot of scenes where there's no music in the background, so it feels very isolated. Whereas you look at films now and there's always at least like a very low based or to build tension, or there's something very quiet happening in the background,
More
or
mysterious.
there's like effects going on. But
Mm.
this one is just silence and you can almost hear the static.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's just another thing. I know it's hard to be negative on this film because it's the first one. It was made in such a early time period that it did so much well for what it had and what it was. But I guess I'm falling into the thing where you're comparing it to the other ones, but that's kind of what this whole film review thing is in
Mm.
terms of even for the other original trilogy movies, such as Empire and Return of the Jedi, it makes the audience feel intrigued on what's going to happen next. It has suspense. When this one feels like, as I was saying before, with the plot being linear, good at some points, but for this, it's so step by step formulaic that it kind of like you already know that the good guys, quote unquote, are going to win because
Mm,
it didn't want to be different in terms of being the first one. You can't have the bad guys win, right? So that's why nowadays movies are like, oh, our first one was like A New Hope, and now our second one's like Empire Strikes Back because Empire changed it up a bit, similar
mm.
to like how Infinity War changed it up by having the villains win and all that kind of stuff. So I think my main gripe with this movie is that it's nowhere near as good as some of the most of the other ones in my opinion. And I'm sorry, Mark, I know you gave this one as one of your top ones, but if you're going off nostalgia, it's probably like my favorite because it's the first, But I don't know, it's so not much happens. There's a lot of talking, there's
Yes.
a lot of unnecessary dialogue, there's a lot of unnecessary scenes, there's a lot of unnecessary filler type stuff because they didn't want to have any I don't know how to explain this. Any how do you explain? They didn't want to jump into the
Doesn't have maybe I might be leading off the wrong thing, but a lot of substance.
yeah, like they had their plot and they were like, how do we get from start to finish, basically? And
Mm.
it didn't feel like they really knew what they were doing from the middle bit a lot. Like, for example, even when
They did spend a long time here on the Death Star trying to escape.
Hmm. For example, yeah, I was gonna say, for example, like the stuff with C3PO, the droids, even rescuing Leia, it felt very like when you rewatch it, you don't realize how much of the movie is spent just doing like that one thing, and then they take out the troopers at the before the thing, then they escape that bit, but then they have to escape again, then they come back and destroy it. It's just most of the movie is actually around center, like on the Death Star or outside of the Death Star, which I understand, but there's not a lot of there's not a lot of in between. Like Luke goes from being a nobody to somehow having a lightsaber. He's not that freaked out by what you know what I mean. Like he must have known about it,
Yes.
I guess. And then he is on the rebels like frontlining mission to rescue the princess, like one of them of Alderaan, one of the most like highly valued target. Like, why would you send some farm boy? I know, like, obviously for story's sake, you need to get him in there, but like, they don't really justify why he deserves to be on that mission. He hasn't
Mm.
really done anything to prove it.
Wait,
He's just been,
do you mean to save the princess?
yeah,
He wasn't given that mission.
No, he wasn't.
He found. I think R2 found out he was on the that she was on the Death
Yeah.
Star,
Yeah.
well, yeah, they got
and he
sent the
just
message
went
to
on
Ben.
impulse.
Yeah, he went with Ben Kenobi. That's what I'm saying. He was only justified to be there because he had R2D2
Yeah,
happen to fall into his lap after R5's malfunction, and then you had and then you had then you had Ben basically just be the reason for Luke getting into this kind of fight. You know what I mean? So I just think it was almost just a bit of lazy writing, I guess you could say. They didn't really have a reason for him to be there, but they wanted him to be the main character in the original trilogy. And I think even besides the visual effects standpoint and besides the music, it's just not comparable to the other ones. It doesn't feel as much as a Star Wars movie. It feels more grounded, even though it's in space and I don't know how to explain. There's not a lot of, they don't go beyond what we know kind of thing. It's very sticking to routine and it's not going outside the box. I think that's
Yeah.
why I don't like it as much as a lot of other people.
Okay.
All fair points.
Oh,
I think you made a good point in the sense that it's hard to compare it because
without this movie, we wouldn't have the others.
yeah, yes, yeah.
Because it was the first one, yeah.
Hmm.
But also just in like a storytelling sense. Because the original and they didn't know that they were going to make more, it was just going to be a
Simple.
isolated story, but now you have to compare it because
Because it's in a franchise.
yeah,
It's
and just even with and I hate going back to this, but it's something I like, even with CGI and effects, just it looks so much better in later films in
yeah.
comparison to this one. But they weren't to know. That's the thing. They weren't to know. And that's why it's so
Mm.
hard to rank this movie.
Yeah. Because even in Empire, it's not that many. How many years? Two? Three?
I think it was 1980 it came out.
So
So 3 years.
three?
Yeah.
So even after that 3 year time, I know obviously they would have had a bigger budget depending on because of how successful this one was. So obviously the studio and everyone got more money to work
Yeah.
with. But it just looks so much different than this one.
Yes. Yeah, I
More
100%
eye-catching
agree.
visually.
Yep.
Like even with the walkers, we will talk about that next week. But the walkers, how like they kind of stop motion, like they don't look clean, like they don't move fluently, but it just looks like they tried something that's far more visually better looking than just like having troopers just running along. You know, it's
This
just
might
Mm.
this might be a hot take. I think the walkers in Empire look better like motionally than the TIE fighters and X-Wings in this movie.
yeah, 100%. It looks more realistic. If you have such a big machine like that, the legs
It's
wouldn't
going
be
to be
moving
clunky. Yeah.
that fluently. Yeah.
Mm.
But I still
Oh,
think Rogue One does the walkers the best.
oh yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
forgot to mention. So I'm gonna quickly finish up by saying this. I think one of you guys will probably mention, maybe I don't know, but I'm gonna talk about it later, obviously too, with our now recent thing about wanting to add a scene or change a thing.
Yeah.
But the stormtroopers, even Darth Vader in some aspects, they're not that menacing. I don't know
No.
if it's
That's what I
because
was gonna say.
of how it was filmed or shot, but they are the worst in this movie compared to the other ones. The stormtroopers are even like I know it's a comedic to say that they miss a lot and everything, but wow, they are like not even a threat. Like it's kind of appalling when you're making these guys be like the people who are taking over the galaxy. Like the way they're portrayed in this film, you would feel like anyone with a weapon would be able to take them out in your streets if you just banded like a 5-man group together. They're not that like I don't understand. I really don't. It's kind of weird how they make them. They don't scare me in this movie. You know.
Yeah.
So
That
They're very gullible.
yeah, it's like the comic relief almost. You know what I mean? Which I don't like. If you're the Empire, you're meant to be like I don't want to say the word, but you're meant to be like real life villains in the sense of war. Like
Mm.
why are they not threatening or menacing? It's interesting. I would like to question George Lucas on that, like his portrayal of stormtroopers in this movie. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was going to be my pretty much only negative that I could think of
Yeah,
off the top of my
I'm sorry,
head.
Mark.
Was no, that's fine. I'll just add on to it the
Yeah.
stormtroopers and how, as you said, they're not much of a threat.
Hmm.
I think there's one scene I can think of where they're somewhat as a threat, which is the very beginning when they
Yeah.
board the Tantive 4
Yeah.
and they quickly dispose of
Yeah.
all of the royal guards on the ship,
Yeah.
and yeah, and they don't take many losses. So in that scene, you think, okay, these guys aren't people to be messed with, and then Darth Vader comes in behind them, scary, very scary.
Hmm.
But then the rest of the film, like you said, they're kind of just dummies, and like they're not smart, and they're not soldiers really. They kind of just stand there,
Yeah. Like I know
and
yeah, well, I'll just interject. I know that
yeah,
like obviously the clone troopers were modified off a bounty hunter, so they had
mm,
better like fighting capabilities. And these guys are meant to be just random people in the mask.
yeah,
You can't say that every single person that is recruited in the Empire as a stormtrooper are just useless. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
Well,
totally logical.
I kind of think Solo demonstrated it quite well in the sense that just in the recruitment process,
Anyone,
it
I
was
guess.
literally anyone who wanted to join could join.
But at this point in time, they are like have the Death Star like built.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the stormtroopers are going to be the best soldiers
I
ever.
know, but that means they've obviously taken over the galaxy with those stormtroopers. Like, and you would think that there'll be other people on these planets who can defend themselves and not be taken hostage by them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
I
guess
find it
okay.
hard to believe that these guys would take over towns and stuff.
So what I think stormtroopers, because I think maybe because of this movie and kind of the um reputation around them, I think Andor, and I know we're going back to Andor, but I think
Yeah.
they tried to fix that reputation,
Oh, they
get rid
did.
of the physically dominating sense and make it about their ego and their
I was
power
also
going to
going to
their
bring
head.
Andor into this. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it took a
just
lot of years for that show to come out
it
compared to
did,
this
I
one.
know, but just it kind of clarifies or like fixes things because it's like, oh, okay, stormtroopers aren't very, oh, they can't shoot, that's fine. Oh, they get taken out easy. Oh, that's fine. Let's make it so that when they feel like they have power in a situation, they absolutely abuse it.
Mm.
That's
Mm.
what makes them so dangerous.
I think numbers over quality of troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that as
Quantity
well.
over
Number and
quality.
size of expendability is more scarier than how they actually operate, I think.
I'll just make a quick comment. I think that Bad Batch and Andor have done a really good job at like fixing that transition from clone troopers
Yeah,
to stormtroopers, even just with the clone troopers
I like that.
being older and not being able to kind of serve their purpose anymore. And then even just that one scene with Palpatine in the Bad Batch season 2 where he's like, it's time to usher in a new era
Mm.
because these clone troopers are now we can dispose of them because they're just, we don't want to be known as the Republic anymore. Then we don't want to have the Grand Army of the Republic serve the Empire. This is a new thing we're going to do.
Mm.
And
Mm.
it could be easy to do cloning, but obviously we didn't know Camino was going to get absolutely bombarded. But anyway, I'm getting too far. But I just really appreciate that the other media have decided to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah. And the funny thing is about the stormtroopers, that scene, or I think there might even be two, where they bump their head on the
Yeah.
doorway.
Mm.
You could almost say that that was like just an actual trooper being dumb and hitting the head
Mm.
instead of
Probably.
a filming mistake.
Yeah.
I love how they embrace that instead of
Yeah, that was funny.
fixing it. Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
it excuses their poor aim if you can't see anything.
Mm,
That's it. That's it. All right.
yeah.
Is that all your negatives, Mark?
Yep. And
Your
as
only
always, if
negative?
huh?
Your only negative?
It's the only one I can think of, but as always, I'll add on if
Yeah.
I believe I need to.
Well, this first one you're going to agree with because we spoke about this before. This film has some really weird transitions.
Oh yeah, that's
It
right.
fades to black a lot
Yeah.
for
There's
no
two
apparent
scenes
reason.
early in the movie where it almost feels
Yeah.
like it's going to go into ad break.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way of describing it, Mark. It does feel like it's going into ad break. It's like, oh, okay, we'll establish this. Oh, here's some ads. You want some blue milk? Oh, here you go, 5.99. So I had an issue with that. I
Mm.
think the fact that it's not in any of the other films is also very distracting. Obviously, again, they didn't know they were making more films, so it's hard to. Anyway,
There is a
uh,
funny one that you picked up on as well, where they lift up C3PO and the screen
yeah,
fades with him. Like it
I
fades
love that.
below his torso like this.
It's great.
That's when Owen and Luke are picking up
Mm.
3PO, and then
Yeah,
it just
Ben, isn't it?
transitions up.
Ben and
Oh yeah,
Luke.
it is Ben. Yeah, that's right. Yep,
It's so unique.
it is unique. I'll get to that in a sec. The visual effects are a bit of a hit or miss for me. Go away, Siri. What do you want? Hang on, I've got Siri on my screen. Oh, jeez.
Oh, geez, Rick.
Oh,
Stop
Siri. No, not
hijacking our
jeez.
podcast, Siri.
Sorry, guys. Siri's being annoying. Uh, the visual effects hit or miss because it looks great sometimes. I think the best scene in terms of visual effects is when their X-Wings are flying to the Death Star. I think that's the best looking.
Yeah, that is good.
Everything else is pretty average. And again, it's
I think
hard
You
to
see, I can't say that as a negative in my opinion because
yeah.
this was made not only in the late 70s, but also I'm pretty sure it had a not as high a budget, obviously, as all the other films would have had.
I know.
So
I agree with
I
Mark.
know.
I think
I
if
know.
you're comparing it to the other ones, I think out of everything, the visual effects is not what I would
in
um
fact, I'm pretty sure I've heard that when it came out, it was known for its special effects
Being
and
Yeah,
good.
how
probably.
and yeah, how
I think,
groundbreaking or whatever you want to call it.
yeah, that's why I said storyline and how the dialogue and stuff, because that shouldn't change in a time period kind of thing. You know
Yes.
what I mean? That is universal throughout all time almost. You know what I mean?
Yep,
So
I
it's
agree.
like that should have been better than the visual effects because that obviously would develop. Like eventually the sequels will look bad. Eventually you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Eventually
that's fair
everything will
enough.
be so much better. But
Yep.
maybe it will revert back because a lot of the CGI nowadays is ooh.
That's it. Animation doesn't even look like animation anymore.
Yeah, but then you got AI, you never know. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, here's my major gripe before I get on to the major character that annoys me. I think that there are too many plot conveniences and
Yep.
inconsistencies.
Hmm.
Examples. R5 explodes at the very right time so that they're like, oh, this one's faulty. Let's go get R2D2.
Yeah.
Second one, we saw in Rogue One that there was like probably 1,000 TIE fighters at the wheel, ready to
Mm.
go chase after the Rebel fleet. How come when it's at the Death Star, there's like five maximum?
And
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
Same with
is
the
true.
X-Wings. Same with the
This
because
X-Wings.
is
There's barely any.
a
this
planet
is
killer.
the great Imperial base in the whole
Yeah.
galaxy, and they can only muster about 6 TIE fighters.
You know, the
And it,
only logical reasoning for that is they didn't want to have that many model TIE fighters to
that's
use
it.
in the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that it's pretty convenient that Leia is on the Death Star and that their whole mission of trying to get to Alderaan. Okay, hang on. Let me start again. The whole idea of getting to Alderaan completely diverts very quickly because it's like, let's go to Alderaan because we need to deliver this message. Oh, Alderaan's not there, but it's a Death Star. Oh, we're getting pulled in. Okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay. Now we got to get out. Oh, wait, no, Leia's here. Oh, let's go get Leia.
It-
And then it's
um,
like, oh, okay, now let's just go to the base. It
it's
just
funny.
completely diverts.
It's funny you mention that because one of the things I'm going to talk about with the scene change has something to do on the page of that.
Okay. All right.
The only thing I can
Um,
say about that to counterpoint it is that the bit about rescuing Leia was an entire on impulse by Luke.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. Good point. And it also was,
Because
oh
they
no, it
were
wasn't the
only
whole
there
mission,
to shut
Dolly.
off the tractor beam.
Well, yeah, so that they could get to Alderaan, but there was no Alderaan.
Yeah.
Um, and my last thing with inconsistencies, I think the whole tracking the Falcon bit is kind of weird because Darth Vader says he'll handle it, and then like one scene later, they're outside Yavin.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like and how did Darth Vader do it? It's not like, I don't know, they introduced hyperspace tracking in Rogue One and then they did it in The
So
Last
funny.
Jedi, but there's no way they would just be able to find them so quickly.
100%.
Anyway, now we'll get on to this, and this is my most controversial hot take, and I think you guys
Ooh,
will absolutely throw things
controversy.
at me through the screen. I
Character.
do I do not like Luke Skywalker in this movie.
Ah,
Oh. Don't tell
I
me you're
think
gonna say it's the whininess of
I
him.
was gonna say he's a whiny little
But that's
brat.
young Anakin.
oh, little brat. Jeez, that's rough.
I think Luke Skywalker is one of the best characters in Star Wars overall. But in this movie, I cannot get behind him just because, and I don't think Mark Hamill does a good job, but the character, I think the way his journey evolves in this, it all happens way too quick and it also is way too convenient. First example, okay, yeah.
It was meant to be one movie.
I know, but at least this is under 2 hours. At
There's
least add some depth to it. And we'll talk about the deleted
there's
scene later.
only
I
one
think,
thing I can say that I agree with you about that is the whole bit about how he needs to stay on the farm and then
Hmm.
he finds his guardians dead and then he doesn't even go into grief or anything.
Yep, I'll
that's
agree
one
with
of my
that.
How
major issues.
that's the one I don't like. And then how he's like, okay, yeah, Ben, I'll go with you. My
Yeah.
The
family's dead, but it doesn't bother me.
The
Mm.
only bit of concern we see from Luke is when he realizes that the Empire would be at his house, and so he speeds off on the speeder to go check, and then
Ben died.
he sees the smoking corpses, skeletons of his aunt and uncle, the only parents he's ever known, and
He sees the face.
he does not change his expression.
No, his face was like this.
Yeah, doesn't change.
He changes his
But
expression, but it doesn't. give you the feeling that he's in grief.
Yeah,
no, not at
everlasting
all.
effects after it.
And then my other thing that I really don't like, he is so maybe he wants to join Obi-Wan to go
Yeah.
to Alderaan, but he's like, oh no, I can't because I've got to help Uncle O on the farm. But then as soon as he sees his uncle dead, he's like, I want to learn how to be a Jedi. I want to
Yeah, because he wants
learn
to
the
The
ways of the
be.
thing,
Force.
the other thing about it is that he shows more grief when Ben dies than when his guardians
I was
die.
gonna say. Yeah.
Exactly. I just
And
I
the other
think
thing is that Leia doesn't show any when her whole planet blows up.
Yeah, that's worse. That is so much
Yeah,
worse. Yeah, it's
I think they really need to go more into the grief and like mourning and when something like that happens, you don't just carry on.
I agree. But anyway, I think Luke in Empire is a lot better, and I can't wait to talk about him next week. But
Yeah,
just in this one, I nah. And even here's another thing, just quickly. He says to Han, I'm pretty sure, that he's going to be a great pilot. We've not seen him ever be a pilot. And then what does he do? The first thing when they outline the plans at the Rebel base, he jumps in an X-wing and is able to fly and do everything. And
we
it's like
don't
it's just
see
so
him. We
convenient.
don't see him flying, but we know he's done it. And also, I'm pretty sure it's also explored in the books, which I know is not the movie.
it's meant to be also because he's force sensitive,
Yeah,
like Anakin.
that's
How is
true.
such a
That's
little kid be
true.
able to
Yeah.
do
That's
the
so
Naboo starfighter?
stupid.
But how is Anakin, little Anakin?
Was
I don't know.
What I want to know is was I can't remember. I'm pretty sure. Don't they say something about his flying in the deleted scene that was meant to be at the start of the film?
Yeah,
Maybe, maybe.
yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
I haven't
Yeah.
seen the deleted scene in a while, but I know what it is. Anyway, that's my stuff. That's
I
my
respect
list.
it. I respect it, but I don't agree with it.
Yeah,
I
I
think
Wow.
I
still
agree.
Hey, what's new?
mm,
The main thing about the whole thing that I mentioned before about grief, especially what I find concerning, is that Leia again has witnessed her entire planet blown up. Luke has seen Ben die, and Leia is the one consoling Luke.
yeah.
Yep,
I think, if anything, maybe not the other way around, but she needs to show some emotion about it.
yep.
And Luke, yeah, as
All right.
before.
It's time for scores.
Oh,
Mark, do you want to go first?
all right, I'll go first. You're not going to tell me my scores, are
No, we're not doing that.
you?
I mean,
Okay.
I can say them, but go.
Okay, I think I'm going to go with 8.7.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Wow, wow,
Interesting.
wow, wow, wow. All right. Jack,
I think I gave that score to another film.
Mm,
maybe.
7.
7.
Mm,
Straight 7.
yeah, 7.
I'm gonna split the difference. I'm gonna go a 7.4 just because I really, really did enjoy watching this movie again. As much as I didn't like Luke and some of the stuff that was in it, I had a good time. Can't deny.
Hmm.
All
Interesting.
Yep.
right. So 8.7 for Mark, 7 for Jack, 7.4 for Cooper. Okay, guess what time it is?
Yay.
Time for
Who
Who has more
has
screen
more screen
time?
time?
Now, I've got to be honest, this is a bit of a sad moment. I don't have that many
Oh,
because
there's
there's
not
not
many.
that many
Yeah,
characters in
I was
this
going to say
movie.
there's not a whole heap of characters really.
Central.
There's, I've got 7 comparisons here, and I've gone back to 2 just because
Yeah, I think the
otherwise
two
I'd be
works better.
losing. Yeah. Okay. Uh, actually, I don't even know who's winning overall. I think
Jack, I
Jack
think, is
is.
ahead by one.
Okay, all right.
Here we go.
Who has more screen time? C3PO or Han Solo? 5,
C3PO.
4. C3PO 19 minutes 15, Han 19 minutes 30.
Oh,
Who said Han?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark. Okay, all right.
I knew
Mark's on the
C3PO
board.
had high though. Oh.
All right. Who has more screen time? Chewbacca or Leia Organa?
Leia.
Leia.
All right, you're both on the board. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Leia has 13 minutes 30. Chewie has 11 minutes. Who has more screen time? Obi-Wan Kenobi or R2D2?
Ben or Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Obi.
Maybe. Obi-Wan, 17 minutes and 30 seconds. R2D2, 18 minutes.
Oh,
I know.
Whoa, more than one of the lead roles?
Yep.
Ooh,
So no one gets points there.
yeah.
Who has more screen time? General Tarkin or Uncle Owen?
Tarkin.
Tarkin.
Okay, yeah, that was probably the most obvious one. Tarkin, 5 minutes 30. Owen, 3 minutes 15.
I can't help but say it because it's annoying me, but I don't think he's technically a general.
What is he?
Well, I think technically he's a Grand Moff, but I'm pretty sure they call
Yeah,
him Governor Tarkin.
he's Grand Moff Tarkin, I'm pretty sure.
All
Yeah,
right,
Grand
Grand
Moff
Moff
Tarkin.
Tarkin. All right, my bad. My bad. Who
Like
has more
Moff,
screen time? What?
nothing.
Okay. Who has more screen time? Darth Vader or Chewbacca?
Chewbacca.
Yeah, Chewie.
Damn, you are correct. Chewie, 11 minutes. Vader, 9 minutes 15. You guys are killing it today. What's happening? What happened? Who has more screen time? General Dodonna or Aunt Beru?
Who's
I knew you'd say that. He's the guy, he's the guy at the rebel base
Is it
who's
that guy
outlining the
next to
plan.
Jack's shoulder?
or is it that one?
Yeah, that guy. You're no, the one to the yep, that one.
Oh, the one who's giving him the plan.
Yeah,
That guy.
Okay, him
yeah, Dodonna.
or who?
Dodonna or Aunt Beru.
This guy.
I'm gonna say Umbaru.
Mark, congratulations. You got
He's
another one
won.
right.
He's
Aunt
Yes.
won.
Beru,
Go ahead.
1 minute 45. Dodonna, 1 minute 30.
Oh, that was close.
Mark's only got one wrong.
I
That's
know. I
incredible.
thought I'd get a perfect
His,
score. That one
his
really threw
favorite
me off.
movie. He's gotta know this stuff.
All right, last one. Even though I don't think it's possible for Jack to come back now anyway.
To
Who
be
has
honest.
more screen time? Biggs or Wedge?
Wedge.
Biggs.
What'd you say, Jack?
Wedge.
Biggs has 1 minute. Wedge has 45 seconds. Congratulations,
Yes.
Mark. 6 of 7. That
Oh
was an
yeah.
in-kind performance. Wow.
Oh, that was amazing.
And
I
Tilly
thought I
probably would
thought
have
I'd
been.
get a perfect score until that Obi-Wan and R2 question.
Yeah.
Imagine Tilly's man. I would have thought he was in it for more. He's better.
So would I. Well, he was in the. Oh, no,
But
Biggs was as
he
well. He
was
was
in
in
the
the deleted
deleted
scene.
scene.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
Mhm.
counts. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Let's go through some quotes. I've got 2 pages of quotes here.
Are we gonna do any impressions, Jack?
I do mine at the start as Princess Leia.
Oh,
That's
All
funny.
right. I might do some impressions, but for the most part, I won't attempt it because it's going to be bad. All right. First one. Actually, does he say that? I don't know. You can correct me. Bring me the passengers. I want them alive. Does he say passengers?
something like
Vader?
that.
Vader? I thought,
Something
I
along the
thought-
lines. Something along the
Okay.
lines.
Oh, love this one. You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
Take it away. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try my best for this one, and it's probably gonna sound crap. Utini!
Houdini.
This one's a C-3PO quote that I absolutely love. Owen's like, "Shut up, droid," and he's like, "Shutting up, sir."
We're all doomed.
C-3PO is just a funny character overall.
He's
He
good.
is, yeah. Luke says, "It just isn't fair."
Um, this is unfair. It's
Uh,
outrageous.
the iconic, yeah,
Like father, like son.
iconic, iconic. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Actually, just is Leia supposed to be British in this?
No.
No.
No, okay, don't worry.
I know that because I've seen an interview or even a couple times, which I think you might mention the quote is when Leia is face to face with Tarkin,
Yeah,
and she's like, "I could smell your foul stench the moment I came aboard," or
Mm.
whatever she
yeah.
says. And in the interview, Carrie Fisher always says she could not do that line without sounding English,
Mm.
All
or
right,
at
okay,
least however the way she said it, she just couldn't say it normally.
Yeah.
okay, all right. That's good to know. I always thought she was British. I don't know why. Oh, I don't remember this one. This might be Owen. We'll have no more of this Obi-Wan Kenobi gibberish.
Yeah, I think that
Really?
is.
Oh,
I
I think I said that.
don't know who that was. Um, Obi-Wan's quote, he was the best star pilot in the galaxy and a cunning warrior.
Mm,
Sentimental.
mm.
Mm.
Oh, who wants to do the lightsaber quote?
Oh, let's go again. This is
John,
something like this is an elegant weapon from a more civilized age.
there you go. Yeah, that's good. Um, more of Obi-Wan. It surrounds us, penetrates us, binds the galaxy together, talking about the Force.
Yeah, I got that one wrong a few weeks ago, and I can't get over it.
That's right. We started off with that one, didn't we? That was funny. I want to go
What was
watch
that
that
from
again. What the
again?
heck? Um, I don't even remember. Was it Revenge of the Sith, maybe?
It was when we were talking about Midi-chlorians.
That's
Midichlorians.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I find your lack of faith disturbing.
disturbing.
Yeah, classic.
Another Obi-Wan quote. You will never find a more wretched hide of scum and villainy.
Yeah, I like that one.
Mm,
Who wants to do the other iconic quote for Obi-Wan
Which one?
about
yeah,
some droids?
these are the
Ah,
droids you're looking for.
Jack should do it.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I do not remember this one. Oh, wait, yes, I do. I just don't remember who said it. Someone's, I think it might be Han saying on behalf of someone he doesn't like you, and then the other guy says, I'm
Oh,
sorry. What was
no,
that
no,
from?
that's in the bar and the cantina.
Oh,
The
Oh,
that's right.
criminal.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the guy. He's
Oh,
like,
He
he
doesn't
doesn't
like you.
like you, and then
I'm
he says, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I don't
sorry.
like you either.
Yeah.
I
I
have
know
the
that one.
death sentence on 12 systems.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
You thought he was so
And Luke's
cool
just like,
saying,
I'm sorry.
Tarkin and Leia, you may fire when ready. What?
You may fire when ready.
Yep. Han's awesome quote, hokey religions and ancient weapons are nothing compared to a good blaster.
yeah.
Mm.
It's actually pretty strong quote, that one.
That is a very strong quote.
Mm.
Obi-Wan, in my experience, there's no such, oh no, that's Han, sorry. In my experience, there's no, it is Obi-Wan, sorry. In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
That one
Mm,
I also always get confused between
yeah.
who says it.
Yeah. That's no moon. It's a space station.
That's too big
Oh,
to be a space station.
I'm sorry, but I love this Obi-Wan quote. Who's more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him?
Mm.
I use that quite a
That
lot.
makes you think. That makes you think. Who wants to do the Leia quote?
Which
Do you want me
one?
to do it?
The one
The
Jack
the
said before.
yeah, the one Jack said before.
I've already forgotten
Well, I'll do it then.
Yeah.
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? Somebody has to save our skins. Han says,
See, I like how you just went. You did two Princess Leia lines,
I
and you
know,
did
I
them
know.
in like different accents sounding thing.
Hey, that's why I said
I
I
know
gave you a
it's
warning.
funny,
I gave
isn't
you a
it?
warning.
It sounds like it could be both.
Han addresses Leia as "Look, your worshipfulness," which I think
hmm
is funny.
He does a
Yeah.
lot of those ones throughout the movies. It's funny.
As Mark described this quote as very uh racist, Mark said
Oh,
that
yeah.
Leia saying, "Someone get this walking carpet out of my way," is very
To
racist.
Chewie,
Yeah, to Chewie.
Probably racist and stuff.
xenophobic.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, another great quote. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
That was a good impression. I liked it.
Um, Great shot, kid. Don't get cocky.
Yeah.
Now, I've got one word quote here, but I can't remember who said. Oh no, it's Vader. What?
Yeah, what?
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 Uh,
Is that when he's coming over the head, like in the trench?
that's when Han comes and
Yeah, I think
shoots
that's
him out of
when
the way.
Han comes in.
What?
What?
Use the Force, Luke. And
Classic.
the last one. Good shot, kid. That was one in a million.
No, what about the great? I think it was it Han in this one? Yahoo!
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that. I
Oh,
didn't want to write it.
Uh,
All right, that's two quote pages done. Jeez, See, I told you there was heaps of quotes in there that just
A lot of
you
Obi-Wan.
don't think about. Yeah, a lot of Obi-Wan quotes. Yeah.
He carries a
Very
wisdom.
wise.
Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this, guys. There is another very iconic Obi-Wan quote that we completely forgot.
Which one?
Hello there. How did we forget
Another,
that? How did I forget that?
and there's another one in the canteen at the bartender. He's like, "We don't serve your kind here."
Yeah, that as well. Yeah. All right, let's do the scene change, but I'm kind of changing it to be a scene change or a scene addition.
Can I go first? Because mine's very
Yes.
simple. Mine is very simply, Chewie should have got a medal.
Yeah. Yep, that's
That's
fair
what I
enough.
would have changed.
Yep, that's fair.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Do you want me to go, Jack, or do you want to go?
Yeah, you go. You
Okay. All right. My one's a series of changes.
go.
And I felt it would have made the villain problem more interesting. Mine would have been to fix Tarkin and Vader's dialogue together because it's so plainly obvious that Tarkin feels and acts more superior than Darth Vader in this movie. I think what would have benefited both of the characters is either have Vader defy an order, maybe like Tarkin says, "No, you will stay in the Death Star," and then he goes out instead and tries to, shoot down the ships.
Mm.
I think it would have added a lot of tension between the characters, and
Mm.
even just building up through because we don't see any interactions in Rogue One, even just building up through the movie, it would allow Vader's true like nastiness and fury to come out.
Yep.
And then it also makes them both more compelling villains, in my
Mm.
opinion. So I would have just changed the
A
dialogue,
bit
made
like a
it
bit
more
of
equal.
like
Yep.
a bit of infighting between the two.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yep. That's what I would have
Rivalry.
changed. Yep. All right, that's
That's a
me,
good
Jack.
one.
Since you talked about the villain aspect, I probably won't say my scene. I think my scene change is as for this is like not my main one, but to make the stormtroopers more of a threat. I don't know how they
Yep.
would do that, but that was just a minor one. But
Mhm.
I reckon
main
a way
one,
to do that would to be have less stormtroopers who do more.
yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, more like
Yep.
actual like high ranking stormtrooper
Mm.
soldiers. The main one is I think we need to see some shots and scenes on Alderaan because it's such a
Yeah.
big emphasis on blowing up her planet, but no one actually cares about it.
I always
Like,
wanted to see more Alderaan, but we
you
still,
didn't,
even now, haven't got much Alderaan.
you didn't even see a scene of it. Like even the people looking up at the beam was like something
Yeah.
simple, like showing the
And
people. You have no
that's
care.
why.
Yeah,
So this is a bit of a comparison, but that's what The Force Awakens does really well. It shows
yeah,
the people of Hosnian Prime
yep.
before they get obliterated.
You see the red
Mm.
beam.
Something
Yep.
like that would have been effective.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm
Armageddon.
saying. More Alderaan because they make such an emphasis on it being like a good, like a rebel alliance planet. You got Princess Leia's homeworld. She's in. I was like, why? Because they wanted to demonstrate the power of it on Alderaan, not just for Leia, but also because it's like a rebel, like allegiance planet. It is. They're
I don't know if that's right.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure
I'm
it
pretty
is.
sure Leia describes it as a
Not
neutral
independent.
planet. No, not independent, but a neutral planet. Like it
Well,
doesn't have
I
any.
think it's more of a secretly rebel aligned
Yeah, because she's
planet.
in charge of it.
And Bail
Yeah,
Organa as
okay.
well, obviously.
Neutral with the Empire.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Does
Because
Bale
they
die?
do, it's like Mon Mothma and like how she's from Chandrila, I think. And in
Mm,
the Senate, like we see that again in Andor to bring it again.
yep.
We see how they're opposing the Empire even in the Senate,
Hmm.
Yeah, okay.
which is, I
I
think,
think
where Alderaan, what they
yeah,
would be doing as well.
I think that
Yeah.
would have made us care about the planet more when it gets blown up because,
Mm.
like, I know they didn't want to blow up Tatooine or anything, but like blowing up a planet that you haven't seen is not that impactful. I don't think.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's like
It
who
doesn't
cares?
have much of an emphasis on you that Alderaan, that entire planet blew up.
Yeah, it should have been a much bigger cause of event, because that's the first time you see it, the Death Star in action too.
Mm.
So it's like, well, why not make it something meaningful, like we've already seen, kind of thing. But yeah, I think that would have made it better.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
Nice.
right. I don't have that many questions, but we'll just discuss them quickly.
Mhm.
What do you reckon changed Han's mind to come back and fight and help Luke on the Death Star?
I reckon guilt.
Guilt?
Yeah.
Okay.
I reckon he felt bad leaving Luke and Leia
Yeah.
to essentially to their doom.
Yep.
I think
Was it maybe like
moral. I don't know morals. I think
Yeah.
okay.
he
Oh,
likes to be also the hero.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think
yeah.
that having be his quote unquote friends, maybe
'Cause
Chewie influence too, maybe. Like,
Possibly, yeah.
Han has always been the guy, even in Solo, he wants to be his own person
mm,
and do his own thing.
but always ends up helping.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
he
Yep.
couldn't help but feel guilty that he wanted to, as Jack said, be the hero.
Yeah. Actually, here's another question. How on earth did he find Luke? You got to think about how big the Death Star is.
Yeah. Maybe
well,
you could see all the laser
you can
firing.
Oh,
see
actually,
above. Yeah,
and also now that I think about it, he did see the outline of the schematics, so maybe he just
yeah,
knew. Yeah,
the
actually.
trench aspect of it.
Okay. Here's another very interesting question. Should the deleted scene at the start, including Luke and Biggs and Wedge and the other friend, have been included in this movie?
I think maybe
Ooh.
like if it was a bit shorter and a bit more edited, because
Yeah,
I like the fact that you can see the fight in the sky. But I think the main part about it is that, like, I'm pretty sure in the deleted scene, Luke says he wants to go to the Imperial Academy or something to
mm,
learn how to fly, and that's what his friends are doing or something.
mm,
And I feel like that just adds a bit more to the character,
mm,
especially since if he was thinking of joining the Empire, and then after all that happens, you know,
Yeah.
how he changes his mind.
yeah. I think maybe only have that scene if you remove something else. I don't think you can add it to what is already happened. I think
Well,
unless I don't know. I feel like it'd be even more dialogue talking that we already have a lot of. You know
I
what I mean?
suppose, but this film's, the way I look at it, this film's under 2 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like you should just add it because it gives perspective. Because
Mm.
you get this perspective of what's happening above, like in the moment. But what about to onlookers? How does it look to these people who are neutrals at the moment?
Yeah. That's fair.
And also, what a symbolic way to start a movie where Luke is looking up without knowing at his father and his sister.
Mm.
Ah,
Mm.
wow. Didn't think of that.
What a
There
way
you
to
go.
start the franchise.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. My last question, and I want it to be specific to this film only. Who is the bigger whinger, Luke or C-3PO?
C-3PO.
Yeah, I think so.
He complains from the
Mm,
very beginning of that film
Mhm.
he
to
does.
like Luke does a little bit too, but I think C-3PO is probably more obnoxious whinging.
Yeah,
Okay. That's right. I kind of don't know who it would be. I kind of would say Luke, but I do agree. I think C-3PO over, and I know I was just saying keep it
More
to the movie,
valid reason.
but over the whole series franchise, it'd be C-3PO. In this movie, I think Luke is probably the bigger whinger.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that brings us to the end of a very lively discussion. So
Mm.
thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week with my favorite, well, no, sorry, my second favorite movie, The Empire Strikes Back.
yes. Now, what's
Everyone's
your favorite one before
Rogue
we
One. Rogue One.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was just
Yeah, yeah,
checking.
yeah,
everyone's
yeah, no,
second
that's fine.
favorite
That's fine.
ish is basically Empire though. So
I think it consensusly, is that a word?
yeah.
Um, it's
University.
universally enjoyed. Yeah.
Yes,
Anyway,
So,
we'll
it
get
is.
into the nitty-gritty next week. But thanks for joining us, and we'll
Indeed.
catch you then.
Thank you all.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.